Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to Weapons Education. Let's talk about Samuel Colt. What an amazing man. One of the most powerful people in the firearms industry. There's no disputing that. In the early 1800s, how he developed some of the guns we're about to speak about here momentarily is just amazing. So this is my little tribute to Samuel Colt and my thank you to Samuel Colt, the Colt family. And what's on the table here, honey? We're looking at a Colt Delta Elite, all right? 10 millimeter, and if you've been watching my channel, you know I favor the 10 millimeter, and also the new Colt railgun, the first 1911 with a rail on it that Colt made. Okay? Take a look back up at me. We're going to talk about Samuel Colt and the history. I'm not going to get into too much detail because I can be on here for 45 minutes. The man was just so amazing at such a young age. He died young in his 40s. We'll talk about that. And we'll talk about the history of Samuel Colt. So let's do that. What I'm going to do is read off my notes. And please zoom in just on the two guns. And I'll tell you the story of Samuel Colt. The short version, the Reader's Digest version. You know, they say Abraham Lincoln may have freed all men, but Samuel Colt made them equal. That's a great slogan. And that was a post-Civil War slogan, and it was really true because I tell you, he died at the age of 47, and he knew that his invention of a weapon capable of firing without reloading was a tremendous success throughout the world. Some 19th century historians have gone as far to say that Samuel Colt's invention altered the course of history. Whatever the case, when all was said and done, no one could deny that Samuel Colt had achieved both fame and fortune known to few other inventors. It's pretty cool to be an inventor of a firearm. I think that's awesome. As we know, he did just so much for the firearm industry, and as a direct result of his invention and the marketing and sales success, he was actually a salesman for the company. I mean, he went out there and hit the streets. Samuel Colt and his firearms played a prominent role in the history of developing America. This is pretty bold stuff. He changed history with developing the guns we're about to speak about. Colt revolver, during the latter half of the 1800s, amazing. It was amazing in our country, but also in Canada, Mexico, and other European countries. Samuel Colt's success story began with the issuance of a U.S. patent in 1836. See, he had the strength to patent his idea. He was smart enough to say, I got this idea for a Colt firearm equipped with a revolving cylinder containing 5 or 6 bullets. Prior to Colt's invention, only 1 and 2 barrel flintlock pistols were available. Think about that. Prior to Colt, only 1 and 2 barrel flintlock pistols were available. And in the 173 years that followed, more than 30 million revolver pistols and rifles bearing the Colt name have been produced. Most of them coming out of the Hartford, Connecticut plant, rock on in the United States. This is a United States company. Now, the Colt revolving cylinder concept is said to have occurred to Sam Colt while serving as a seaman aboard the sailing ship Corvo. And I'm reading off of some notes from the archives of Samuel Colt, from his website. There he observed a similar principle in the workings of the ship's captain. During his leisure hours, Mr. Colt carved a wooden representation of his idea. He thought of this in his mind. Just think of it. He thought of this firearm in his mind, and he carved it out of wood. I just think the guy was just changed the world. Colt's idea was not an instant success, as a lot of our ideas are not. We have to work hard in life as we know it. But, you know what? Many people preferred the traditional flintlock musket. I don't get that. Or pistol to such a novel. It was like a novelty thing when he first came out with his revolver at the time. It was like a novelty item. Back in 1836, he incorporated Colt. And what happened was he built a plant in Paterson, New Jersey, then one of the country's fastest growing manufacturing centers. Samuel Colt's uncle, a successful local businessman, was willing to help young Sam. Sam was only 22 years old. So between him and his uncle, they built this company. Colt soon developed and produced 3 different revolver models. They were called the pocket, the belt, and holster. And they also developed 2 types of long armor rifles, one cocked by a hammer and the other by a finger level. Now let's fast forward a little bit towards his death. Samuel Colt, his health began to fail in 1860 as the country moved towards a civil war. And who knows, if it wasn't for him, who knows what would have happened with this country. Now listen to this. This stat is probably the most amazing stat of the video. Think of the year 1862. Think of like money and what things cost at the time. His net worth was $15 million. $15 million. He died on January 10th, 1862 at the age of 47. Back then, of course, they didn't have health care and things like that. And but he's certainly changed all of our lives if we're into firearms. Now, following his death, I gotta say that his wife, Elizabeth Colt, and her family ran the company until 1901. And then the company was sold to a group of investors, and during a 39-year period, a number of significant events and developments impacted the Colt product line. And now we move to here, 2009, modern day era. You can pan up at me now. Thank you. Zoom up. Now, modern day era, as we know, John Moses Browning, by the way, we know, invented the 1911, and we know Colt Manufacturing Company ran with it in 1911. So we owe a lot to Colt, but Samuel Colt was the man. This is my little tribute to Samuel Colt. Let me know what you think about Colt. Let me know which firearm you prefer. The 45, the 10 millimeter. What Colt do you like the best? Let's all comment and talk about Colts. This is a night for Colts. Now that I said all that, let me say one more thing. As you know, I have the store, ArmoryExpressOutlet.com. This is, coincidentally, which by the way is hard to get, this exact shoulder holster. I put one on tonight. This one here is the Miami Classic. And I happen to have one right here, ready to ship tomorrow. For the first person who wants it, I'm going to take $30 off the price, $150. And you have, this is designed for a 5-inch 1911. And it says right on it, Colt 5-inch 1911. Please zoom in real close on the shoulder holster. The first person to PM, have your credit card ready. And I'll just give it to you pretty much at the blowout price. It's a good deal. You're going to love this. This is the way to carry a firearm. Like this. So I have the Miami Classic shoulder holster here. But more importantly, let's look at the 2 guns one more time, real close. Zoom in real close. Which one do you prefer? The new Colt railgun? I'll tell you what I prefer. Or the 10 millimeter. I like them both. Look at them real close. Look at the beauty of them both. Which one you looking at here? This one? Both?
It was both, so we got the other one.
This one here? Okay, thank you. Let's just focus in on this. Let's talk about the railgun. They're hard to get now. It was the first time Colt put a rail on a 1911. So I have to say this is a wonderful firearm. I've got about 500 rounds through it, and it has 0 malfunctions. This 1911 is it's pretty hard to beat with that crisp trigger. Now please take a look at this firearm, real close. This is the Colt Delta Elite 10mm, and I must say, I have to favor, this is one of my favorite in my collections. Not that I dislike the railgun, I love them both. But the 10mm is just an incredible round. There's so few manufacturers that still make a 10mm. Glock and Colt are the two that come to mind. But back in SHOT Show of 2008, Colt reintroduced this, and you can buy this gun again now, brand new. Brand new. Okay, take a look at me and I'll say goodbye. Thank you so much. Tomorrow I'm doing something really special. I'm trying to crank out a video every day, as you know. Tomorrow I'm going to the range, and I'm going to show you 2 really cool guns. One in particular, one incredible gun from the Smith & Wesson Performance Center. Alright, so that video will be up by 8, 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. You know how much I care about you, and I want to thank everybody again. Everybody. Oh my gosh, the PMs are still coming in by the dozens for that My Life video. I'm so glad that 3 or 4 of you already got a job because of it. I'm so glad that 40, 50, 60 of you changed the way you look at life. One person, I actually got on the phone, we spoke because his PM was so long. I just called him, he left his phone number, and we spoke for a half hour, and it made my day. I want to thank him. He knows who he is. He works in the Marriott, and what he did was he went to his boss, who wears a nice watch and drives a nice car, and he says, I want to apologize to you. I just watched Tom's video last night. Now I understand. You're the CEO. You own this Marriott. You're in charge of the Marriott. He doesn't own it. He runs it. And he went to him and said, I apologize because I always thought you were being flamboyant. But now I understand why you do what you do after watching Tom's video last night. Those type of messages are just amazing. We're changing lives. We're changing gun laws. We're doing a lot of good stuff. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow night. And thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.